right, everyone. We are here.
We're here. We're here
Bunch
to do it. We're here to do the thing
of
early.
Daddies.
Thanks for the host,
hanging
Alex. Episode 16, Season 2, Weekly Ward. I'm Dan Ward, Kevin Jones. We're rocking and rolling. We're a day early, but we're not a dollar short.
Day
we're ready
early.
to hit you
We're
with it.
4 or 5 days ahead of the opening of Amonkhet Standard in Atlanta.
Yeah. I'm kind of sad that I'm not going, but also glad that I have more time to prepare for Richmond.
So,
This is first thing I want to talk about is our website, of course, because we are the best place in sleeves. Kerwin's Game Store. That's going to stick from now on. So definitely check out our website. We got everything on here from nuts and bolts to whatever you need in the Magic community or any game for that
to
matter.
Japanese Weiss Schwarz singles.
Yeah.
Or
Card Fight Vanguard.
Card Fight Vanguard products that are not singles.
Free content.
Yep.
Free. Free's always good, right?
This picture of Ed where he looks happy.
Yes. And Andrea kicking it.
And that big dude, that's Gene,
Andrea,
right?
we got to get your article up. We got another
Omar.
host. Thanks, Agumo. But we want to talk about this, right? This is a big
Yeah.
tournament we have going on here.
Couple weeks away.
Boom!
We're doing a modern
This
regional, a
part is-
KGS regional.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Dog Snoops and
Thank
is
you.
following. We out here.
All hail Snoop Lion.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy. We suck.
All
Yeah,
right.
so definitely, if you're not playing the Pro Tour and you're in the Northeast, or even if you want to make a little trip out, it's probably going to be worth it. We have a regional going on, our first ever store regional. The prize support is parallel to any of the SCG regionals if you've played there. The only difference is we can't give out the SCG points, but the cash prizes will remain the same. We got a ton of side events going on, and we hope that this is going to be a big one. So
I'm gonna sign autographs. I'm not actually doing that. I mean, if
you might be
someone asks me to.
commentary.
I don't think so.
All right, he said he wants to play.
I think I'm gonna mix it up today in that tournament. I'm gonna get in there.
I figured.
I think just doing commentary when there's a Pro Tour is just a poor idea.
Maybe.
Especially since it's in the eastern half of the United States, so it's literally the same times as our tournament.
Yeah, that's true. We'll have to think about that.
We're
a
gonna
little more.
revisit that. The people who are in charge are going to decide what we do, and I will have no say in it, which is the correct way for it to go.
All right, Andre. I'll think about that. That's interesting. We
I
got
don't
Andre
know,
out
that's
here.
not
Some
interesting
player,
at all. That
some
is what you call
loyalty
bad
rewards right
value.
there. That's loyalty rewards. Okay, so definitely check out if you need anything with between card games, role playing games, figure games. We have everything, so definitely check it out. And sleeves. We definitely got sleeves. The best.
The best place in sleeves.
And they're powered by players.
Powered by the players. Electric blue.
It's electric. Boogie,
It's
boogie,
electric.
boogie, boogie. All right,
But yeah,
so for those of you that don't know how the show goes and how the rundown is, you see the topics we have on the side. We're going to go, pardon the interruption. Scott's going to ring the bell, which we haven't got yet, so we need to get a bell. And we're going to do a little run through of what's hot, what's not, and kind of whatever we want to
we
talk
should
about.
make a promo for the store. It's like magic and singles and boxes and D&D books and Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and sleeves. Here's to Kerwin's, like the football commercial with the Coors Light girls and
God.
twins. Here's to football. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
You do. You've seen
I
it before.
don't.
Coors Light. It's a Coors Light commercial. It's two blonde girls, and they yell about a bunch of things, and then they go, and twins. Here's to football. And someone in the chat knows what I'm talking about. It's great. Whatever.
Okay. Love it. All right, so
Can't believe
we
it.
kind of went off a little bit here, but you're talking about the commercial. Was there something you want to talk about? We wanted in 2017 to be able to talk about maybe something before we get into Magic. So what's new besides your haircut?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you want to talk about real world stuff. I don't know if I
Yeah.
got that. They said I shouldn't do marketing. Well, I know
That's
that
probably true.
I'm going to have a new video series coming up on the site next week or so.
This is true.
Which is cool.
It's weird how we went from modern regional to modern talk.
Oh, I know what I want to talk about. I'm going to remember it. It's like, oh, yeah. So, you tell me this. You travel a lot. What's the busiest airport in the United States of America?
Is this one of the times where you actually know the answer?
I do know the answer.
Okay.
I was playing Jeopardy. So what I do on long drives often when I'm alone is I fire up some episodes of Jeopardy, and then I drive and I listen to the episodes and just yell the answers out. and play along.
Okay. So you want me to
This
guess...
was a Jeopardy question, and I screamed the answer, and I was wrong. What's the answer?
Dang. Well, Andrea says ATL, and I think that is... It might not be the busiest. So are you talking about the amount of people, the most amount of people, or are we talking about the most amount of planes that come
The
and
Jeopardy question was just called it the busiest airport. That's what it said. I don't know.
If I had to guess...
Probably people then.
I would say Atlanta or I would say Los Angeles, but I would probably go with Atlanta because of a statistic that I knew when I was an air traffic controller that 5.5 years ago, and I don't know if this is still true to this date, that every 30 seconds an aircraft either takes off or lands in Atlanta on average. And they have, this is probably more than people understand, but they have intersecting runways as well.
Yeah. Okay, so it's literally down to the second so that planes don't hit each other? That's how busy it is?
There's crossing and there's intersecting runways, so you can't clear an aircraft for final until the aircraft that's landing is pulled off of the taxiway.
Okay.
It's illegal. It's breaking FAA regulations. This is a kind of cool one, actually.
This is interesting, yeah, because this is your life.
So if you're coming down and you're like about on your approach and you're ready to land, they can't clear another aircraft to land. They can clear on final, and they have a threshold, magic term, that within I think it's depending on the airport, 3 to 4 miles, if that aircraft that was on final hasn't landed and pulled off, they have to pull up, go around, and they go into a holding pattern.
Yep.
To come back into the final.
Oh, because someone else is going to land or take off, and they miss their window.
Exactly.
That makes sense. So I thought about it for maybe a second or two, and pretty much snapped off O'Hare. And I was wrong. It was Atlanta.
Yeah.
But
why would you say O'Hare?
I don't know, because O'Hare was. Someone said that it was really busy. That it
There's
was the
another
busiest.
airport there too, though, in Chicago, next to O'Hare.
There's another one in Atlanta too.
Yeah.
Peachtree DeKalb or whatever?
Yeah. But Atlanta, I guess it's tough. Just Atlanta's so huge. It's it's the largest airport too that I've ever been to. So I would just assume with it being the largest airport.
It's a cool airport.
That it's.
Security is never long there.
The other guess would be LAX just because of on that side. There's just so much going on.
I got to go to LA. I've never been to LA. I got to go to LA. What I would do is I would go to LA, have no money because I never have any money, and then I would walk out of the airport and I would take an Uber to Venice Beach and just never come back. I'd be like that guy on the beach, yo, surf's up, brah. You got a cigarette?
Yeah, you'd fit right in. I need to get in.
This is not an entertaining discussion. We appreciate your feedback.
Yeah, I definitely need to get back to Cali. Going back to Cali. Okay, so yeah, we'll take that's noted.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was interesting. I'm giving you some factual information.
Yeah, this is what Dan did for a living before he chasing the dream of being a professional 6'3" day one of a Grand Prix.
Yeah, that dream's over now. Now we're professional wannabe commentators.
Yeah, I know.
And
we are wannabe commentators. That is for sure.
Yeah, that'd be great. I would actually they could put me and Marshall together and we would just be the Twin Towers. It'd be pretty great. All right. Anyway, so first topic. I know this is on a lot of people's minds. Kind of blew up yesterday, and I'm kind of really excited because we are doing a Tuesday show. It would have been another day, and we get to kind of talk about it.
It's all fresh in our minds. The fury and the thoughts that we feel as we discuss these things are fresh in our heads.
So,
on the top of our list for conversation today, the banning in Legacy of Sensei's Divining Top.
So, this is kind of something that has been on the radar for a while. Everyone thinks of miracles, but we're talking this now going to stop decks like Cloud Post that my friend John Casari's championed for a while and he's had good success with. And this is just one of those things where you just wonder what's going on with Wizards.
Pour one out for all the miracles players.
Why
am I going to get fired if I pour liquid all over the floor?
What do you think was behind this? Why do you think now? We'll start with that. The first thing that I want to hear from you is why now?
Well, this is a long time coming. I don't know why it didn't happen already, honestly. I think that it had absolutely nothing to do with the weird traffic sign that was posted in front of Wizards headquarters, it said ban Sensei's Top.
Okay.
There was a traffic, like a big orange, like road sign right there in front. Yeah, there you go.
Here we go. Ban the top. It
This
says
actually
ban
happened.
Sensei's Divining Top.
Someone pulled up to work and they saw that, which is funny.
Hey, Dylan, what's going on, brother?
But yeah, so I think that Wizards is hesitant to take action against anything in Legacy a lot of the time because the format is kind of just on the periphery of mattering. It's almost never relevant. There's like 1 to 2 Grand Prix a year, couple Opens a year. SCG used to support the format in a real way, but like it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't really. It's not really something that matters.
But like
to most
nothing.
people.
What I mean is usually there's an action and a reaction.
Yeah,
There wasn't something
there's
that
the
came out in
6 Treasure Cruise decks in top 8 or whatever.
No, oh, I know what it is. Oh my God, Miracles was gonna splash green, play the new Nissa, and they couldn't have Scry 2 with the top. That'd be too crazy.
That is not the reason.
Yeah, that's not.
The reason is most likely that they finally decided to do what they should have done years ago. I guess they thought that maybe like some of the new sets would change something here and there, and like Fatal Push came out, and maybe Fatal Push would shake things up and incentivize people to play black a little bit, play a little bit less Miracles.
Sure.
But like what's still happening, Miracles is just far and away the best deck. Just when you see Miracles played by a good player, it dominates the event. Ely Cassie's dominated SCG Worcester. Ely Cassie's powerful wizard.
Very powerful wizard. He's sad.
Anurag and Bob dominated the Eternal Extravaganza. They got first and second with Miracles. Roommates taking it down. But like, I don't know. I'm glad it happened.
I'm glad it happened too. It's weird to me about the timing. Do you think this is what I'm thinking? So I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, but I also think like things do happen kind of for a reason. Do you think because everyone was anticipating a ban in Standard, or for that matter, an unban in Standard, that they didn't do anything there, they wanted to do something, and they've been waiting for this for a time where like, hey man, we need to do something, because if we don't do something, they're just going to be like, well, the Wizards did nothing. Do you think that happened?
So you think they threw it in here now because they...
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
It's a perfect timing to do it now because the Worcester's over. They don't care about the SCG circuit that much, right? So Worcester's over, and the next Legacy tournament is Vegas.
Well, I think they care.
But they care
about numbers.
They care
in a general sense. So like they don't specifically care about SCG's bottom line. It's 2 different companies.
Sure.
But like if SCG is doing well, that means Magic is doing well.
Correct.
Which is a good thing.
Agreed.
So like if SCG numbers are hurting, that's just, empirical information that leads them to believe that maybe something is wrong with one of the formats or whatever.
Sure.
So like sure, they don't care about,
what I'm getting to is that I think it's a very good time because people are actually starting to test for Vegas. They're starting to put their decks together. And I know we've had this discussion. This is Modern and Legacy. The Eternal formats, people lost their deck. The 5 to 10% of those people playing Miracles are going to have to choose another deck.
Yeah.
And there's not as much metagaming going on. But I mean, there is also probably about 10 to 20% of the field of like Legacy tournaments that can interchangeable parts. They can get new decks. They can do that.
Yeah, some people own a lot of cards.
And I think it's a good idea that they're doing it now because they don't have to. They could wait till after the Pro Tour when there's another announcement and go, hey, let's do that. But there's, it's a good time. It's months before Vegas. And I think that it's a month and a half, 2 months before Vegas. And I think it was a reaction of nothing happening in Standard.
I think it would have been really, really bad if they banned something in Standard yesterday.
Okay.
It would have been a very poor decision.
What do you think about unban? Like, to me, I think there's like really no reason why Copter should still be banned.
Well,
there's just so many answers for it now.
But Copter is just so efficient and smooth.
Yeah.
I don't think it should have been banned in the first place.
Agreed.
I don't think Reflector Mage should have been banned at all. I think the only thing you ban is Emrakul.
Sure.
And like the reasons why
they should have banned Gideon over Reflector Mage.
Yeah. If they really were worried about...
they should have done that.
If they really were worried about Blue-White Flash being a dominant deck, which is kind of a ridiculous assertion anyway, It was a good deck.
But do you think about how
And at one point, it was the best deck.
do you think about how much better in a way?
Mardu is than
No. 4-color could be with 4 reflector mages with Guardian.
Yeah, you
And like that's why they had to
trouble.
get rid of that. So.
But that's not why they got rid of it. They didn't say, "Oh, look at this."
Well, of course, but I mean, just
Guardian.
think about if you got to take Rogue Refiners out or whatever 3-drop you wanted to take out of your 4-color deck to play 4 of those now. Like that's a big game.
Yeah, but why wouldn't they say, "Oh, we don't want people to be bouncing every single permanent their opponent or every single creature their opponent's playing, just giving up and like making the play patterns like infuriating and depressing."
Sure.
Like, well, why didn't they say that? It's too good with it's the hell. I lost my train of thought. But
Oh, I like this black hand. They're letting us know what's up. So no, to answer your question, no, I'm not high. And I've played a lot of Mardu vehicles. I actually played it to the top 4 of the PTQ in Mexico City, and I played it for a while. I think it's a very good deck. However, with the number of playable artifact enchantment removal cards that have been introduced with Amaket, and just like Manglehorn, the cycling ones, every color cast out, like Fatal Push. There's just so many cards to answer Copter now that like reliably you could say, oh my god, Copter's great, but you can't fit
what are they going to do? Play 4 Copters and 4 hearts here? And they're not going to do that.
Like, you could do that. You could play Gideon and Nissa, but, like, then you're losing out on other things. And, like, I think that's fine. Like, if people want to do that, there's nothing broken with that.
I like this, guys. I like this feedback here. It's cool. I dig it. I like when people don't agree with what we say.
Sure.
They're like, you guys are dumb and wrong. I really, really like that.
Well, they got the dumb part.
Because that never happens. Because we have such loyal, amazing fans on the weekly ward that everyone's like, you guys are great. Kevin is great. Dan is aggressive. Kevin is really, really, really great.
You know what I want to do right now? Like, it makes me want, like, in wrestling, whenever they're in a new city, and be like, right here in Catskill, New York. But you know what I mean? No one else is here.
Before I forgot what I was going to say, I was just going to say that they should have admitted that Guardian and Reflector Mage were too good together and said, this is why we're banning Reflector Mage, not, oh, Reflector Mage is really good.
It's busted.
In blue-white flash.
And there's this 4-color, there's Temur control deck that's just going to, balance the power.
It would be really, really good.
Oh, dang.
That's cool.
That's whatever. Love you. So, all right. So, Vintage, we don't really talk too much about Vintage. Gitaxian Probe's now restricted. Gush is now restricted. A lot of the people I've talked to about that, like, briefly, they're happy with that or they're content with it. There's a few people, like I saw in Andrea Mangucci's just, like, saying goodbye to his deck. And he's like, you know what? It was good while it lasted type of thing. But no changes in Modern, which I think is great. I think this is weird, right? There's no PTs. There's no, like, PPTQs. There's no major events coming up. Like, we have Copenhagen and
SCG Open this weekend.
Yeah, that's not
huge. It's major. It's going to set the tone for Standard.
I like how you said that's major, and it's in Atlanta, so you got to think about Michael Majors.
The homeland of Mr. Majors.
You know what I also have to say? Michael Majors, if you're watching this, I think you went to your first Atlanta game. At least that's what I read off the Facebook.
Oh, they won,
of course, and then they won last night. So all it takes is Majors to like go to a Atlanta Hawks home game and then turn it around.
Unfortunately, it's not in Atlanta though. It's in bizarre suburban convention center in the middle of the woods.
Is it?
That's 30 minutes north or whatever.
Oh wow, that's weird.
It's in where the snow one was, or there was a blizzard in the north, and then I flew over the blizzard to Atlanta, and it was wild. Everything was closed everywhere. This happened like last January or January 2016. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
It was the first event where Oath of the Gatewatch was legal.
Okay.
And went down, and I like missed my flight. Got on the last flight like out of Philly before the blizzard happened, and then like when we were landing, it just like shaking, and there's ice everywhere. The winds are frozen. I'm like, I'm going down before I ever get to cast a Reflector Mage. I'm going down. Oh no! But spoiler alert, we landed. I lived. Reflector Mage was great.
Jesus.
It got banned. Anyway,
So before we move on, I want to talk about Legacy a little bit.
All right.
We won't go too crazy into it. I know a lot of people are interested in the standard talks, getting ready for this weekend, and probably wondering what CNG is, and we'll get to that in a second. Real quickly, obviously the biggest loser is Miracles. And with that, probably Jace the Mind Sculptor. That's a big loser.
Well,
what
the
do we
biggest
have?
loser is Counterbalance, Terminus, and Entreat the Ancients.
Sure. Well, borderline unplayable for Entreat and for Terminus now.
Yeah. I could see a Terminus here or there in the
Counterbalance still gets
decks.
played into... Well, I guess that's probably unplayable now, too, because the decks that were running the Painter's Servant, they also had top.
I think of the three of them, the one that might still see play is Terminus.
Terminus, okay.
As a 1-mana Wrath that's still even a little inconsistent is still pretty good.
Okay.
If you have Brainstorms and Snapcasters, you can get it on top of your deck, and Ponders, you can get it controlled somewhat well. And, I can see Esper Stoneblade playing one or two of them.
Sylvan Library.
Sylvan Library, yeah. Deathblade maybe, but Deathblade has more creatures. I would see Esper or Blue-White Stoneblade would play like two, maybe in the sideboard, maybe one main, But most of the time, we're not going to see any Entreats. We're not going to see any Counterbalances anymore.
So what do you think? I've been playing in Louisville. I was actually looking at my list yesterday because I've been working on Legacy a little bit for Vegas. And I played Ben Delver, the 4-color Delver. I like that. And I've been working on Breed Duke's list from Louisville. And I've changed a few things with the true names.
True names.
And I'm trying to find out what's going to, the metagame shifts. The two decks that I really am kind of worried about, and not in the sense that they're bad matchups for the deck, but the ones that are the big gainers to me from this announcement are Elves and Storm.
Elves is a bad matchup for Reed's deck. A very bad matchup. Reed said it's the worst matchup, actually, I think.
Probably. And I've thought about it. I've already put a Cage in the sideboard to help out with that, and also Reanimator. And
Elves is just a problem. That deck is great.
Yeah, Leovold is very good versus it, but yes, there's a hole. So I think those two decks have just gotten extremely,
they got a big shot in the arm.
Yeah, Elves always had the problem with Miracles just because they could never beat Terminus. It was
They're
so
kind of
hard.
goldfishy against each other though, which is cool. Like Elves and Storm.
Yeah.
So that might discourage some people from playing some of them. If combo gets way better, Elves is worse because I don't think Elves is particularly good against Sneak and Show or Storm.
Land seems insane now.
Land seems insane. Again, I guess Elves is... What's the Elf versus Lands matchup like? Just ships in the night? One of them is trying to Crater Hoof the other one?
I don't know. I think Lands is favored,
to
be honest with you, because they have the Tabernacle, which they can go get.
Oh, Tabernacle's great. That's true.
They've got the other land, the Chasm, which prevents them from just even dying if they don't have a Wasteland or some way to get rid of that. And still, punishing fire is still a beating. So I think Lands has probably gotten even better, which I think it's just one of those decks. And it's weird because of the online metagame, which is really, another point we can get into another episode down as far as testing Legacy goes with, people not being able to have the cards in real life. They're real expensive. Yeah. But Rashad Port's 200 tickets online. Lands is a great deck. It's not even in the top 10 decks of Legacy when you go on MTG Goldfish. And it's just because people can't afford.
Blood Moon is much better now. There's not a deck in the format with 6 or 7 basic lands main deck anymore.
True.
I mean, there might be Omnitel or whatever.
But that's the thing too, though. On the flip side, that means 4-color Delver got even better because 4-color Delver was actually putting up good results versus Miracles to where they had to put Blood Moon in their sideboard. And so now the biggest Blood Moon deck we have Skred. Not Skred, but the red Stompy, the Hooglin version.
Well, I think that
and also Sneak and Show.
Something will move in to take the place of Miracles. There'll be a Stoneblade deck with basic lands and Blood Moon. I don't know how good it's going to be, but it's going to exist. I'm going to try to play it, that's for sure.
Yeah, you'll try to play it. All right, so
I got a whole group chat full of people. As soon as Top got banned, they added me into a group chat because I posted this Facebook status about Stoneblade. And I was like, can I play Stoneblade without being mocked now? And immediately afterwards, I was just added to a group chat of all these Legacy control players just trying to pick up the pieces. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess that's a good statement here. Ban the best card in the best deck. Every other deck got better. This is true. But it's one of those things when you enter a tournament, especially Legacy's, I guess Legacy's a little bit different because is so many decks like Modern. You know that you're going to play
But some decks got
Miracles.
worse. Like the decks that preyed on Miracles got worse. There's
What
not
decks prey
many
on
of them.
Miracles?
I mean, Eldrazi was supposed to be good against it.
Okay.
Tyler, my friend Tyler, plays Miracles a lot, and he says that Eldrazi is a nightmare matchup. So I think Eldrazi got worse. Eldrazi didn't fare particularly well against like the 4-color mopey Baleful Strix decks.
Like Shardless?
Like the check pile or whatever.
Okay.
As I was told that was supposed to be a good matchup for Eldrazi, and I just ran the guy over twice, and I'm like, this is not a good matchup for Eldrazi at all.
Yeah. That's
They had double Reality Smasher. I was just like, bolt, you Deathrite, you bolt, you bounce your Reality Smasher, win the race.
So what I'd like to do is I'd like to get
they burned.
burned his
Alex
top.
Stratton
I saw that.
Alex Stratton put up a video of him like Viking Funeral, like releasing tops into Tampa Bay, and then later on, Tyler put up a video of him and Gabe on stream burning tops, which is really funny.
All right, so we're going to move on, but I would definitely want to come back to this next week on the show, and we'll be able to reference the Classic, right? There's going to be a Legacy. No, there's no Legacy Classic?
Nope. At a Standard Open, the Classics are Standard and Modern.
Oh, gotcha.
At a Modern Open, the Classics are Standard and Modern. At a Legacy Open, the Classics are Legacy and Modern.
Well, within the next 2 weeks, I definitely want to come back to this, and we can either reference a tournament from SCG, or we can reference some Goldfish stuff.
Yeah, we'll have some data
more
regardless.
content on that.
There's going to be Legacy Leagues and stuff anyway.
All right, so, and free Leovold.
Leovold was banned in Commander. And what was unbanned? Something funny, right?
Yeah, Hulk.
Protean Hulk. There you go.
You know, I walked into work today and just saw a bunch of Protean Hulks on our orders. I swear, it was just crazy.
All right, so let's talk about the most important... Oh, sorry.
You're good. Just really quick, Leovold. Did it really need to go in Commander? Was it that big of a deal?
I'm not the person to ask. Honestly,
Me either,
I have
come on.
No idea.
Commander's like the Wild West. Just let it go. There's no competitive Commander, right?
What have they banned in
Braids.
Commander before? Yeah, that's great.
Braids is fantastic.
That is
Magic
awesome.
card.
How is that not legal? That seems like fun.
I know. Everyone sacks a permanent.
Wait, the black braids or the blue braids?
The black one.
The blue braids is bad, right? Nobody plays that.
No, the blue one's okay, but it's not as good.
The blue one lets everyone put something into play for free. Why would you ever play that? It's like a 7-for-1 in the other direction.
Because you can play stuff that steals their stuff. So hey, put something cool into play and then do that.
Oh, okay. You could play all Sower of Temptations or Control Magic.
Threads, just Control Magic, everything. So
I like the way you think. But so the most important part of this discussion, of this ban list update, was that nothing was banned in Standard. And that's what CNG stands for. Cat Not Gone.
Yeah.
Which is dumb, by the way. I tell Dan says, what should the topics be? And
it's not dumb, first of all.
He says, well, why don't we hashtag it CNG, Cat Not Gone? And I'm like,
what's dumb is that the cat is not banned. That's what's dumb.
Yeah, but this title is way more dumb than that.
No.
I think the cat not being banned in this update is 100% correct and would have had a lot to say if it was banned. It would have been very, very wrong.
I'm over it now. I really am. I think that the thing that I would have really liked about them banning it is to see guaranteed new decks. However, I will say this. I like to consider myself a pretty good deck builder. Or at least marginal at best. As I hit him with the bat.
Well,
this is really going to be a challenge for me because I have to, I have a baseline of where I need to start, building my decks that can compete with 4-color. My first inclination to this set is that it's very powerful. Some of the cards that, the limited format, which by the way is awesome, played the pre-release, won the two-headed giant, got wrecked on a PPTQ sealed last night, but I had fun doing it, and it's really sweet. So if you haven't had a chance to play limited, it's awesome. I look forward to playing a lot before Richmond leading up to that. But I will say that there are cards that are very powerful for constructed. So with that being said, I think that people were now that are just okay, it's legal. The cat's legal. If you have a Pro Tour team, you've got somebody that's the cat man. You're the cat man. Build the best cat deck. And now everyone else can start building everything else. I will hit you so hard with this. You know what's so funny? Kevin has so much cat hair on him. He is the cat.
I am the cat man. I have cats. Well, I have one cat at the moment, but.
Would you rather ban Saheeli? Cat is way more fun. They'll never ban Saheeli. The reason why they'll never ban Saheeli is because it's the face of Kaldesh.
It's the face of Kaldesh.
And it's a mythic rare.
And it's a planeswalker, and it's a mythic rare. You know what they don't ban? They don't ban planeswalkers. They just let them ruin standard instead.
Jeez.
They would much rather let Gideon ruin everything and infuriate everybody and let them complain on Twitter than ever ban it. And I don't even know if they're supposed to ban it. Because you know what? It doesn't even matter when you die on turn 4, which is why Cat is so great.
Andrea's over here. Andrea's over here buying 40 Glory Bringers at $2 each.
Yeah.
Let's just hope it works out better than Key to the City.
Bringers. Did he buy like 100 Key to the City or something?
I think he made money on that too. But yeah, Glory Bringer is awesome. We said that on the show, I'm pretty sure. Stormbreath Dragons like cuz.
Yeah. It's really good with Saheeli and Guardian, right? Because you exert it so it doesn't untap, and then you can either minus and copy it, or you can blink it so it untaps and exert it again. Either way, you get to hit them and hit something 2 turns in a row.
It's very good.
It's really good.
It's very good. Haste is awesome. So I guess what I'm saying is that, like, I think that the people that are like, oh my god, Cat didn't get banned, the roof's falling, whatever, like, there's going to be different decks at the Pro Tour.
There will be.
There's going to be different decks this weekend. Yeah, agreed.
Jinx.
Sell as soon as you get them.
So,
yeah, I would. $13 is a little high for a regular rare, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
So
there's going to be a lot of this set open too, because people are going to open it hoping that there's something in it that helps them beat Feldar Guardian or Gideon Ally of Zendikar, and they're just going to open pack after pack looking for an answer, and they're not going to find one.
Sure.
And they're going to sell all their junk rares back to the stores, and all the values are going to plummet.
Yeah.
Also, they're going to get an invocation counterbalance and just freak out.
Yeah. But that could come back, and people still want that.
I think it's Avacyn for Mardu, Glory Bringer for 4-color. That's my take.
Yeah. It may be something where you want like some number of both.
I don't want Cat banned at all. I think it's great. I think it's really interesting. And all right,
every pro should show up with
Cat. It's about time for the daddy to launch into a tirade.
Before he goes into the tirade, I just want to say Nissa's great. I love Nissa. I'm testing it in Legacy, Standard, and Modern. So both. Hopefully you got there. I'm going to put some brews up.
I'm off.
Daddy's getting ready right now. He's doing some kind of like
argument
Tai Chi. I was watching like Anthony Bourdain when he went to Vietnam, and they were doing like Tai Chi and stuff, and Kevin's like kind of doing that right now.
All right.
You know what you remind me of? You were just doing like the
Tonto,
like, jump on it,
jump on it, jump on it. Get off your feet and jump around. Ow!
All right. So what do you want to talk about? Give me my bat.
All right. So a lot of people complaining on Twitter yesterday. Some of these people are known to complain. I'm good, okay? My takes are different than that. Some of these people are known to complain. Some of these people I haven't seen complain so much. Okay. Regardless, basically 70% of the comments I was seeing were, I can't believe they didn't ban something. They ruined Standard. I'm unsleeving my deck. There were people just yelling. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was like when you go to a town meeting and they won't approve like the zoning regulations for them to build like a new, like a repave a road or whatever, and then everybody in the community meeting is like, you don't care about the people. You're putting money in your own pocket, and it goes nuts. And all the people are yelling at everybody else. Why are you threatening me, man? I'm
just doing this. I'm not threatening anyone.
All right, so yeah, it was like that. Twitter was like an angry community meeting yesterday.
You know what I want to like? I don't want to stop you in the middle of your thing, but you know what I really want to play right now?
What?
But Twitter will get mad at us, or Twitch will get mad at us. I want to play the Kevin Bacon clip from Footloose where he's like quoting the Bible to get dancing allowed in their town.
All right.
Oh, go ahead.
So,
back at the ranch.
The people complaining are competitive Magic players, right? So competitive Magic players, you know what they do? They go to tournaments and they shuffle up and they draw their 7 and they sign up for a game and in tournaments of a game that is heavily affected by variance.
Sure.
they sign up for 15 rounds where literally a million different things can go wrong at any given time.
How would I ever win if it wasn't for variance?
And they exactly. And they do this voluntarily and willingly and enjoyably. So, explain to me why these same people don't know what they signed up for. Like, why are you complaining about standard? Like, there's two things you need to do instead of complain about them not banning the cat. Thing one is you need to understand that things are cyclical, that you could just build the cat yourself, or you can do whatever, ban it, or to break the format and beat it.
Ban it.
But you need to do something better than just complaining that they didn't ban it. And then the other thing that you can do is work harder.
Agreed.
Work harder. Build the best version of cat yourself, or build a deck that beats it. Build a deck that beats Mardu. Build something interesting. Push, innovate. They innovated, they built Temur Tower, and it's almost playable. Like, people innovated, people did something.
I agree.
They tried. They get turned forward like half the time, but whatever. That's not the point. They're trying. They're not complaining. Shouta Yuzuka didn't complain. He just went over there and started battling. He put a Tune with Ether in his control deck and started battling. He said, I'm ready. Sign me up for this Magic tournament. I'm going to play. That's what he did.
The problem is we've gotten to a point now with social media, with knowledge being at the fingertips of everyone, that everyone wants this fair, no one gets an advantage. I can show up and feel like I can play my cards and there's nothing overly crazy going on.
Social media is an echo chamber for invalid opinions.
And I cannot agree with you the most for once. I'm a person that puts a lot of time and effort into my craft. I'm not a great Magic player. I'm an okay Magic player.
I'm not either.
I realize when I go to tournaments, even though I have to relearn this a lot, that I could do everything in my power, and sometimes it still doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And for the people that are just complaining, like, it's just nonsensical. It's just get off your butt, start working on decks, get in the lab, figure out why you're losing to this. Or like you said, if it's actually the best deck and you've went through this, and this,
best version of it.
Exactly.
And
figure out how to beat it.
And then just walk into Wizards and slam your Guardians down on the table and, like, got told off by an opponent at a GP for playing cat. Like, sorry, I showed up to win a title, friendo. That's a great response.
That's funny.
But, like, yeah.
The babies.
It's just interesting for social media to be what it is. It's just like, yeah, I'm just playing 4 colors Saheeli with Glorybringer. I'm so excited to do it. It's gonna
I'm
be
just
great.
excited that you're playing my card, my Glorybringer. That's my dragon, man.
Yeah, dragon is
That's
great.
my quarterback. That's my man.
That's your sunshine.
That is.
Or,
I swear to you,
Remember the
I've
Titans?
got. Oh, that's great. I love that movie. I've got one Glorybringer deck right now that's in the brew. We're gonna get to a couple decks here soon, and this one doesn't have Glorybringer. I wish it could.
So this is the analogy I made on Twitter, right? I said, people complaining about lack of standard bans are like deadliest catch crab fishermen complaining about getting seasick. That was my tweet, and I think I only got like 2 likes, which is nonsense because I make a random tweet like, oh, I bought $15 in Taco Bell after I went to a poker tournament, and I got like
100.
50 likes. Yeah, 50 likes. But
that's great.
Tweet about some actual magical theory and some conversation, and nobody cares what Daddy has to say. That's why I get up here on my soapbox when you're forced to look at me and listen to me because you're in the show, you're in my show, our show, and you listen to me. And that's it. I don't know. But, like, come on, people. Be better than this. Be better than whining about something not getting banned. Seriously. What is going on here? Maybe I'm gassing myself up, but I was getting so mad looking at the internet.
We need to have an altered card with a snake with a box of tissues that's called the Whining Constrictor.
Whining Constrictor? I dig it. We should get a Whining Constrictor. We'll get a giant...
That should be our one of our logos for the show.
We should have...
For Twitch.
I want to have
a crying snake.
A gas station every week where we talk about someone who did really well, and we say, the attendant at the gas station this week is...
Okay.
Well, one week Brennan won back-to-back opens, so like it would be Brennan. Brennan would have been in the gas station or whatever, you know? You went to top 4 in the PDQ. You're in the gas station. The dude who won with Temur Tower, he was in the gas station. You know what I mean?
He didn't win Temur Tower.
Temur Tower won one of the GPs.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But You know what I mean. And then I wanted to have a whining constrictor where we go to the carnival, you know, like the carnival?
Sure.
Go to like the local
spin
fair,
the wheel?
the state fair or the carnival, and you shoot buckets. Well, I mean, you wouldn't be shooting because we know your game
Dude,
is post or
I'm
nothing else.
Buckets.
But I would shoot, and I would, of course, because I'm lights out from downtown.
Excuse me, sir.
I would win giant plush snake for you.
Did or did I not cross you up, put the basketball between your legs, and then score on you?
You tried to pass it behind my back and just threw it out of bounds, and then you did bounce it between my legs once and make a layup.
And it looked so great, and you were done. I tried the old Shaq move on you, but I missed up by a little bit. But yeah, well, Magic players complaining. That's
par for the course.
Yeah, I think we do it too, to some degree.
Yeah, I complain more about the culture of the people, like this entitlement nonsense.
I'm not gonna hit you. I promise. The thing that I have a problem with, and you've kind of alluded to this, and we're gonna move on after this, is this: if you're a professional Magic player, every other person that is little Johnny to Dan Ward to Kevin Jones that's looking at your tweets and looking at your things, if you're setting the example as the top tier player and you're crying about this stuff, that like turns me off.
Does that
set? You're just like, oh man, yeah. Like, yes, it sucks. There's formats that have been like, man, you have to do this or you have to do that, but like, get around it, or you know what? Just stop playing.
Yeah.
Go to play Modern, play Legacy.
You're not
play
required to play Magic.
Complaining about complaining.
No one is forcing you to play Magic, and when the way that you've built yourself up, the way that you've built your brand and made yourself known is by playing Magic at a high level and succeeding doing so, then no one has any sympathy for you when you're whining about an uncommon in Standard. Not at all. Zero sympathy. Nobody cares. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
That's it. I want to see you and your, whether you have, 200 lifetime pro points or you're in the Hall of Fame or whatever, or even if you're just like Jeff Hoogland or somebody like that who complains a lot on Twitter. One of those people complains too. You guys are all plenty good enough to break it. Go out there and break it. Stop complaining.
Well said. We're moving on. We need to get a ding. We're getting the bell. We're going to get a bell.
Ding, ding, ding.
And the paper toss.
Daddy wins by knockout. Twitter warriors are defeated.
Internet lashings. All right, so...
Oh, by the way, quickly while we get on to the to SCG Atlanta and the new Standard format.
Sure.
Is Gitaxian Probe just going to get axed everywhere? The card is just too good, right, to be printed?
Honestly, this sounds really dumb, but I think like everything with Phyrexian Mana should just be gone. Not everything, but like the things that should be gone. They got rid of Mental Misstep. They never allowed it to be in the format. There was a reason. Probe is like borderline oppressive. Yeah. For the decks that's
they're all clearly mistakes, and the ones that like the ones that are not clearly mistakes, I'm not doing that. I got to keep my star power crystal clear. I am a gentleman.
To be honest with you,
accounts.
$20.
I'm a gracious winner.
Or a case of Red Bull.
And
do it.
To be both a gracious winner and a generous loser. Is that the Little League creed? I don't know.
Little League creed.
Yeah, there's like this creed/prayer thing that we used to have to say before Little League, and it was like something. Allow me to be both a gracious winner and a generous winner and a gracious loser, or something like that. Whatever. But anyway, so I'm not dabbing on anybody after a match.
There's a slogan.
That's heel caliber that I'm not quite capable of yet.
There's a slogan that I learned in the Boy Scouts for camping.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called Leave No Trace.
Sure.
It was a principle basis off of whenever we go camping, regardless of where it's at, you want to leave the campsite
as you found
it. And I think that's kind of what Magic players should do with their opponents.
Take out what you bring in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never leave.
Well, no, because you have you're so much different than, and now I'm an environmental science degree, so I understand nature too. But I'm nature's important. I 100% back you here. I believe that leave no trace, if carry in, carry out, whatever you want to call it. That stuff's good. But we have the opportunity here
to leave something.
To leave something positive on people.
Sure.
And I think that it's important to remember that you can do that. I think it's important to remember that if you are working to be successful in Magic, that the way that you're really going to make your star power is by impacting people positively by interacting with you.
Okay.
Like, you need people to be invested in your success. And the way that you're going to do that, you need people to be invested in your success so that you can charge them money for watching you be you, or listening to you be you, or reading you be you.
Or you
That's
could
how
just
you make
be
money.
here on Wednesdays
Exactly.
at 12:30 and get it for free.
Yeah, you could. Exactly. For now, until I'm so famous, I got to charge y'all. But for now, it's free. But that's the point I'm making. You need to remember that you're kind of selling yourself anytime you're playing Magic. So when I sit down across from an opponent, especially at like the local level and at like not super important tournaments, like even like classics and opens and stuff, I'm just like, hey, I like really care that my opponent has a good time. Like, I care about that almost as much as I care about winning.
I
Probably more than I care about
I can
winning.
honestly say that about you. I will say I don't know. I'm different in the sense that I definitely want to have a good time. And I think that something that happened this year that really, like, helped me kind of come into my own in this regard was the team tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
I have never had so much fun with not only my team, but with my opponents. And just, like, kicking
Except
it back,
for AJ
relaxing.
Soccer, right?
You know what? To be fair, in regards to that, like, I don't know, like, I wish you didn't bring it up just because now we're going to talk about it and people are going to be like, what happened, or whatever. And anyway, there was things said. Me and AJ didn't, like, really, what's the best way to put this, I guess? We just had a misunderstanding
Your
after game
personalities
one.
clashed.
No, there was just a misunderstanding after game one, and he kind of took it personal, and then I took what he said personal.
Sure.
And so it is what it is. I've got no ill will toward the person. Like, honestly, I really don't.
Yeah.
And it's just something that I wish, one of those moments you could go back and just be like, man, like, that was silly. I should have just not said anything and just moved on with my life because now we're still talking about it. Or at least you brought it up to talk about it. But I mean, like, I've never had so much fun, like, working with my teammates and then being able to just, like, have fun. Like, you know me when I'm casually playing. It's a lot different than when I'm seriously playing.
Well, what do you call our playtesting?
No, not our playtesting. Our playtesting is unwatchable trash that is consistent on me playing ridiculous decks that
You just
destroy
aggressively
you.
mean when we playtest.
Yeah.
You are just like, oh, can I take that back and play a different land? And you're like, no.
Yeah, we're playtesting.
What do you
You're
mean,
not
no?
taking back. You're not no takesies backsies. All right, this is not F&M. If it's F&M, that's fine. But what I'm getting to is just like being able to have fun, and this ties into what we were talking about before. If you're going to choose to play this game at a professional level, high level, pay all this money to go out there, there's no point in complaining about variance. Do what you can with the things you can control, and try to have the best time you can.
Because Saheeli combo being legal is kind of just variance, right? Like, it's just like the ebb and flow of standard. It happens to be something good right now, but like there's gonna be other things later on that are good, and there's gonna be an oppressive blue control deck at some point.
But what I'm saying is, like, you're talking about making sure your opponents have a good time. There's times where I'm playing Modern and I'm playing Boggles, and my opponent sees first turn Slippery Boggle, and they're already, like, depressed.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do about that. I can be like, nice games, but they weren't. And I don't say that because that's condescending. Yeah. I can be like, man, I got lucky. And if I do, if I'm like, hey, I drew that or something. You know what I mean? I try to make it so that
I understand what you're saying.
It's like, tough depending on my deck. If I go turn 4 Ulamog off of Marvel and my opponent's obviously on tilt.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not saying to just play like bad decks or casual decks so
and
that
lose.
your opponents can have a good time.
Yeah, like, oh, I'll just lose.
I'm just saying that, like, I kind of care about their experience, and I'm going to try to be, like,
Thanks a lot for the follow.
I'm going to try to be, like, a cordial person. I'm not going to, like, be overly strict with triggers and stuff like that. And, like, it's funny that he mentioned Owen because, like, at the World Cup, like, I was playing against an opponent, and he mulliganed, and he was like, keep. And I was like, okay. And, like, before I started the game, I'd already kept my 7 or whatever. Before I started the game, I was like, don't forget your scry. And, like, they were like, well, you shouldn't remind your opponent of that. And I was like, well, I just, like, don't want to win that way.
See, that's the hard thing, though, because these are, like, unwritten things.
I'm also just supposed to, like, not remind him because it's a team, and, like, my morals don't matter. What matters is, like, that we're winning as a team.
Sure.
Like, it doesn't matter if I get mad. Like, it's within the rules to, like, not remind him. I should not remind him because it's not up to me strictly.
I mean,
if I'm playing by myself.
So, like,
and I want to,
me personally, at that level, I wouldn't remind my opponent of a scry. However, if they went to, like, play something or they were, like, a keep, and then, like, they go, oh, but I wanted to scry, like, depending on the timing, I think I would allow that. Yeah, I would allow that to happen.
I just flat out said, like, don't forget your scry.
Yeah.
I, like, pointed to the top of their deck and was like, scry.
I mean, like, literally, this situation happened. We're going to move on to the standard decks. Sorry if we're boring you. We're going a little off with this one.
Someone's getting bored?
Oh, I don't know, but
no,
people want to know about standard, and we don't have that much time. We have to talk about standard. So, this happened at the Pro Tour, and it's kind of similar. My opponent mulled a 6. I kept my 7, and it was game 3. He was on the play, and he said go. And I looked at him, and I gave him like a second.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything, and I said okay, drew, and then as soon as I drew my card, he goes, I wanted to play he looked at me and like wanted to play a land, and like he knew that he missed it, and like there was a judge literally watching this whole happen.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what I mean? Like I just felt really bad, but like you can't. There's certain things you can't let people take back, I think. And like scrying, I think is one of those ones that, you know, if that's your personal stance on it and you don't want to win that way, I totally agree.
Well, it's just kind of an example that proves the rule, right? Like I would do it with land. If my opponent just missed a land drop, I'd be like, yeah. I'll like
sure, but if your opponent
go play a land,
if your opponent plays a land and goes, I forgot to scry, then what do you do?
Go ahead and scry.
But that's illegal within the frameworks of the rules, right? Because they've made a game action.
Sure. And like
so now they're looking at the top. It's looking at extra cards because there's been an action.
Yeah, yeah.
So are you going to allow your opponent to get a?
No. Yeah. That's why I said like I reminded them before the game starts with scrying specifically.
Sure.
So that they do it before they forget or whatever, and like I just kind of meant like if they're on the draw. What about if they're on the draw? If they're on the draw, they don't get to like if they draw a card, they can't scry anymore. Sure. So, like, you're supposed to remind them right away. They're not always going to be on the play.
So I got to say one more thing before we go on that, because this ties right into this. Mm-hmm. I'm playing against a friend. I'm not going to name him. Playing against a friend. I'm playing Boggles.
Yeah.
They're playing Abzan. We're in game 3. Sure. My opponent mulled the 6. Mm-hmm. He picks up the card and is looking at his scry, puts it on the bottom, like puts it on down here, goes to pick his deck up. Me being a friend of this individual, as soon as he picks his deck up, that's an indication to me that he's going to be putting that on the bottom.
Yeah.
Because there's no other reason why he would pick the deck up.
Sure.
So knowing he's playing Abzan, he's on the play, and obviously they have Thoughtseize and Inquisition. I want to play my ley line for turn 0 before he takes like a shock and makes an action, because I don't want him to reveal cards and information from his hand. Yeah. I want to play it correctly. So I reveal that I have the ley line after he picks his deck up. Like he has literally has the deck in his hand about to put on top, and I go, okay, I have a pregame action ley line. He put the deck back down and then picked up the card again and thought about it. And this is one of those scenarios where
keep scry, then pregame action.
Correct.
So his scry is resolved completely.
But it didn't resolve because he didn't technically bottom it. And what I'm getting to is like, where kindness can be mistaken for weakness.
Yeah, you jumped the gun.
I jumped the gun a little fast.
And he's like, oh, wait, maybe I need this card now if I can't target you.
Exactly. I should have waited for him to bottom it and go, stop. But I didn't want him to reveal, like, hey, Overgrown Tomb Thoughtseize. Like, some people will play 2 cards at the same time in shortcut.
Yeah, he was on the play.
And he was on the play, so I wanted to make sure that, like, I got that out there. And I rushed. It was definitely on me. But that's one of the things that, I was trying to do. Well, it's weird, too,
right? Because once he bottoms it... and you kept your 7 anyway. Yeah, so like once he bottoms it, like he just has priority to start the game.
Correct.
Because most people don't think about ley line of sanctity.
Yeah, they're not like, hey, do you have pregame actions?
Yeah, it's not. Everybody's sitting there like, hey, where's your ley line? Let
it loose. Let it hit there.
Let's get that out there
from
before
the windows to the wall.
Yeah, let's get that out there before I Thoughtseize you.
You know, I was like more worried not about the timing issue, because if he was go to play a land, I'd be like, stop, I have this. But I didn't want him to go like land, shock, and then show me the Thoughtseize, because then I'm getting information from his hand.
Yeah, and then you look sketchy as like you slow rolled your ley line to get information.
Exactly.
And you don't want to look like that either.
All right, moving on. Be nice to your opponents. It's important. You're going to see them again, and Magic's great, and we want to make it great.
And they all have Reddit accounts.
That's very true. All right, so we're going to get into SCG Atlanta. Let's start off with the deck. This isn't your exact list, but you plan on playing 4-color this week. Yeah. That's no surprise to anyone, as, you know, I've known you've been playing this forever.
What is going on here?
So this right here, we have a list by Jabberwocky, which is a streamer. He was well known for the green-red Marvel deck. And I pulled this list up not because it was like your favorite, your choice, but he's been doing quite well, as you can see his name on the right. Excuse me. And I just wanted to like reference this as a decent 4-color list for this weekend. I think this is the number one target. Mardu Vehicles is definitely going to be a close second. But just talk about this deck. What do you think about some of the choices here?
I think it's weird that he's only playing 3 Guardians. Okay. I think Bristling Hydra is odd.
Do you think that...
Main deck Tracker is cool.
Do you think that the slots with Bristling Hydra are going to be what you're talking about as far as bringing Glory Bringers?
One is 100% going to be the 4th Guardian.
Okay. Not for you, but I mean even for Logan.
If I was updating that deck, I would be playing, you know, 2 Glory Bringers probably. Okay. I could see losing the Verdur's Gear Hulk because Glory Bringer is a little bit better. If you don't have Walking Ballista, for sure, I'd rather have Glory Bringer in that slot. Little harder to cast. You might have to tweak the mana a little bit. Play like Spire Bluff Canal, which, as you can see, they're doing. Maybe Inspiring Vantage.
Sure.
But like, generally, I think that this is a decent shell. I like Traverses still, but you know that's me.
Yeah.
I also like a couple copies of the new Nissa.
What do you think about Manglehorn? Is that a main deck card?
One main, probably.
Okay.
I think that there's diminishing returns to Rogue Refiner now, especially if you're including the new Nissa. I think that that Rogue Refiner's good still, as a couple of them to fill out your curve.
Okay.
But that on turn 3 on an empty board, new Nissa is probably better. You need, and then like Whirler Virtuoso is a little bit better as a 3 of. Okay. Than Rogue is, so I think I'd probably play like 3 Whirlers, 2 Rogues, 2 Nissa, something like that.
All right. I think this is going to be an interesting one to keep an eye out for because it's obviously a value creature, and the times when you're able to play Nissa after you play like a turn 3 Whirler Virtuoso is like really big game because you just have like kind of the ground locked up, and now you can just kind of like it adds another dimension to an already deck that's just coming at you from 5 different angles. Let's not forget that like it's not unheard of for Saheeli to be able to get about 5 to 10 damage in and then Nissa ult and just kill you now, which is crazy. The only thing I don't like about Nissa in this deck is it's one of the few things that Cat can't flicker and get value. Will just actually die.
Yeah, that's why I don't like having a lot of them. I've seen lists with 4, and I don't think that's correct.
Yeah, 4 is a little ambitious,
I think. Heavy.
What do you think about the sideboard, I guess, and what... And more importantly, with this deck, what card... I
mean, this is an old format sideboard, so we'll see some changes.
That's what I'm kind of alluding to. Like we know some of the stuff, Spray will be in. We know Release the Gremlins will be 1 or 2 copies. And it may just like be just a 1 copy. Manglehorns.
Spray, Manglehorn, and Obsolescence or State or whatever.
Okay.
You don't necessarily need it anymore.
Okay.
The one list I saw had 1 main deck, the 1 in a green Shatter that cycles... Dissenter's Deliverance, is that the name of the card?
Sure.
It's a common.
The green one, yeah.
Yeah. They had that card main deck, which is interesting to me. I'm not really sure how I feel about that.
They're expecting a lot of Mardu.
Yeah.
What's the card?
Cycles, right?
Yeah. Still takes a mana, though. Like, the argument... that's one of the misleading factors, I think, with, like... It's different from limited to constructed, but, like, having the argument of it cycles, to me, is, like... For very high impact cards, I like that, and maybe sideboardable, one of, stuff like that, that's good. But just being able to like put this card in your main deck, like the slots in this deck are already so tight that unless you've identified a card that's like really bad for you, like if this card said destroy target artifact or enchantment, then I would 100% include it because like one of the main cards and like that people are playing in the sideboards to stop this deck.
Or we'll cast out.
Is cast out
authority the consoles, yeah.
Like these are cards that it could hit, and but like we're talking about
cast out main deck is crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
Do you play like that 3 mana thing that cycles? Exile target artifact or enchantment, and it cycles for 2.
I would like that better than the green thing, because it's You know what I mean? If we're talking about cycling, it's actually hitting something that stops you
Green
from
thing
winning the game.
kills heart on curve though.
It does. It
Imagine
does.
like, excuse me, playing against like Teamer Tower,
Okay.
and they're just like, third turn Dynavolt Tower on the play, and you're like, shatter it, untap, place a Healy. They're like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's pretty big. But that's going to happen too. So, like, besides Authority, the Councils, my question to you is, with preparing for this tournament this weekend, what is the one card you want in your 4-color deck to beat the other 4-color decks? That's what people want to know. From the new set.
I like Bringer.
You like Glorybringer that
I don't
much?
know how good it is in the mirror specifically, but it feels like it should be good.
I think so too. Like, the fact that it kills Guardian and can kill Saheeli.
It can kill Guardian and Saheeli in the same hit, but
The only
they're
thing
not likely to have both of them in play if you're not dead.
The only thing I don't like about it is, like, 4 toughness, like, it's still, like, it's right around that heart range, Chandra range, where, like, after the first attack, and obviously, once you've attacked and killed something, like, you're pretty much doing good. But, like, then they can just kill it, or they can just, like...
I kind of like Ballista, too. I'm not sure. But I'm 100% convinced that I'm going to get off Ballista yet.
I just feel like this is a scenario, right? We're talking about the mirror.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a lot of chances where you can tap out for 5 mana to play Glorybringer and not worry about dying the next turn? That's what I'm worried about.
If they have one of the 2 pieces in play, yeah.
Sure, but they could just have the other piece and you're dead.
They'd have to have 6 mana on both pieces.
They could have 1 piece and have a harness up.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, like, that's what I'm more worried about. Like, being able to actually cast the Glorybringer and then have the thing go through. I think that's not, like, we're not talking massive hoops to jump through here, but we're talking about, like, how good is this card if it's going to be a multiple in your deck, and then you can't even play it sometimes on the turn you want to play it.
It's considerably better than Verder's Gearhulk in the mirror, though. Like, unless you have a Ballista, your Verder's Gearhulk is like a brick most of the time.
Sure. And Verder's Gearhulk, like we just talked about that one-of, is now going to be a victim to maybe the one-ofs, the Manglehorns people are going to be playing. And taking that out of your deck, I think, is actually big. It's a small thing, but I think that's a thing.
Manglehorn is kind of cool because you can, like, use your other creatures to, like, pressure their walkers. They can't, like, make Thopters with Whirler.
Yeah, they come into play tapped.
I mean, they can still make them, but they don't do...
They don't do what they want to do.
Like you want them to.
Okay.
It's kind of neat. There's a lot of dynamics there. I think Mardu is probably going to stay somewhat to what it was before. You might see, like, some Glorybringers in the sideboard. You might see...
Some Mardu list.
I don't even really know what Mardu got. Someone would have to enlighten me. Maybe...
New Gideon.
New Gideon is, like, not playable in Mardu, I don't think. I think it's a control card.
Really? I think the New Gideon is definitely playable. I don't think it's a 4 of, though. I think it may be a 1 or a 2 of. It helps out with the curve a little bit. But, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I think, like, honestly, with Cat not getting banned, I'll be the first to say this. This Mardu version's dead. This version is dead. People are going to show up with it this week, and I think it's a huge mistake.
I think this is a great deck for this week.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think so?
Seems pretty good against 4-color, right?
Does it?
Yeah.
You just talked about all the cards that 4-color's getting versus this deck. And now in conjunction, it's going to get a creature that is a 4/4 haste that can kill any creature.
People are going to start cutting Ballistas because they're going to want to play new Nissas and stuff, and Ballista doesn't really work with that. So, like, and the Ballista version was, like, pretty good against this.
I mean, from being a Mardu player and playing against a ton of 4-color, the big card in the matchup is... Well, there's 2 cards that are huge. Heart of Kieran and Scrap Heap.
And Whirler Virtuoso. Well, from the other side.
For the other side, for your side. But from the Mardu side, Scrap Heap is huge, and so is Heart of Kieran. You're talking about a 4-color deck that not only gets Manglehorn, which trades with a lot of the creatures and destroys the heart, but gets this new one that cycles, 2 mana, gets Magma Sprays, which I don't know how many 4-colors are going to play, but they're probably definitely going to play 1 or 2.
2 or 3 in the board.
There you go. So I just don't see how it got any better, and it was already not great. You know, you saw everything from 4-color decks now running the Traverse package with Ishkana.
There's MTGO deck lists up from yesterday with Amonkhet.
Sure.
Let's check them out.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. We weren't sure if that's a... There you go. And Driggy, drag.
There he is.
Let's throw that over on the big screen. There we go. Let's talk about
All right,
this.
competitive standard constructed league. Here we go. Here's the first 5, though.
It's in Spanish for some reason, but that's okay. So we got 2 new Nissas, 2 Chandras, 1 main deck Nahiri, 4 Saheeli Rai, 4 Felidar Guardian, 2 Glorybringer, 4 Rogue Refiner, 4 Servant, 3 Whirler, 4 Lightning to Oath, 20 lands, and 4 tunes. Alright, this is pretty standard. Interesting. I like this. It seems fine.
Pretty standard in standard.
Yeah, there's stuff you could play other than like...
So yeah, like looking at this sideboard, we don't have any of the Magma Sprays. But going up to 2 Manglehorns and an Obsolescence and the Shock, I think
you can get away with a main deck Manglehorn over the 4th Rogue Refiner.
See, I'm weird about this. I like Manglehorn, but I don't think it's necessary unless you're running the Traverse package for main deck. Because it's just like 3 mana, like, unless you're playing Mardu, like, killing a Whirler Virtuoso, like, a Thopter token's not great. Yes, it could theoretically hit a tower, which is fine.
Oh, it is Portuguese, though, right? That's weird.
Dan's
It's
covered
still
it.
weird.
There you go, Zach.
But yeah. I think that this is kind of a standard list. I also think that you're fine with, like, including Traverse. It doesn't seem like the worst idea.
We got a tower deck here. No towers, though?
No towers. You don't need them.
Yeah, just blue-red control, some Sweltering Suns, bunch of counter spells. This will be interesting, the Essence Scatter. I really like this card moving forward.
This is great.
Negate.
You go like turn 1 Oath, turn 2 Servant. And then you can have like 3rd turn Guardian to blink Oath on the play, and they just have Essence Scatter. Or Censor.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Thing of nice. Dragon Master Outcast. We'll see if this one makes a cover.
I mean, that's not new technology, but yeah.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Alex. We got to reference these 2 decks. That's the only ones I had up right now. And you can see, as Kevin was talking about, we're talking about, like, 2 you thought was the right Nissa number. I know you're at 2 or 3 on this guy,
Yeah,
so we'll
I
see
don't know
how
what the
that...
Nahiri is doing in there. I guess they expect a lot of cast outs, but...
Well, I was listening, and I know you listen as well, to the game.
The game.
And Michael and Jerry were talking about how, like,
Time to play the game.
Nahiri is just one of the cards that breaks up the mirror.
Yeah, it's good.
And so I think if you're expecting a lot, and you should be, I think you definitely want to have the option of playing this. And I think this card goes up a lot of value, with this card, because A, it gets rid of the artifacts, which is great, but exiling cast out is also like phenomenal while being able to loot. And like with running Nahiri 1 or 2 and the Oaths of Nissa, I would really like, I can get more on board with playing the Manglehorn. Because you can just discard it. The matchups, it's not great. It's another thing where if a Nissa, like a 3-drop creature that you can play after you scry once. You know, you can just put it on top, scry it away if you don't need it. So I think that's kind of cool. And like,
I think that the fourth Rogue Refiner is probably a little bit unnecessary. Like, you don't need to do some of the... You need to have, like... You're diversifying a little bit, so, like... You're going to have better things to do than just a 3/2 that cantrips. The card is still good, but, like, it's not super important, I don't think.
All right.
I know, sorry,
No, you're good.
D. Van Helden. I'm going to do CAK with Blue-Black Fairies. I'm going to be recording some today and the rest of the week, and it should be up sometime next week.
Yeah, he might put the new Delver in there. The 3/2 Death Touch if a creature dies. The Picker. Picker. All right, so I just wanted to reference a deck that you kind of laughed at me about. And it's not perfect, but if I was going to play a tournament this weekend, I would consider this as being a deck that would catch people off guard, and it's aggressive. And week 1, we want to be aggressive. So this is the list that I'm going to move over here that I came up with. I'm sure Tom Ross has a way better version, but it is a version of White-Red Humans. I guess I can cover the lands up because they're not as important. It's a 21 land, super aggressive deck. We've got 14 1-drops, just a ton of creatures in general, and just a couple cards that I think definitely gained some ground, so to speak. So we're talking about Red-White Humans here. So we have 4 Envoys, 4 Raven Inspectors, 4 of this guy, which, you know, to be honest, I have not tested it at all, but I think in theory it looks, you know, like a 1/1 for 1. You're just like medium. But this deck wants to be turbo aggressive. And I think with it being a human, you know, obviously we were talking Thalia's Lieutenant and being able to give some of the other creatures haste is going to be big.
Yep.
Couple gossip mongers. I just wanted to fit a couple more 1-drops in the deck. We wanted to make sure we're playing something on turn 1 always. You made me put this guy in there. This guy's awesome.
He is good.
We're talking Glory Bound Initiate here, 4/4, Lifelinker for 2. Pretty strong. And as you can see, there's a big theme with this deck. We're always watching.
I think Metallic Mimic should be considered too. I think it's better than a lot of the 3-drops you have.
Okay, well, we can get into that. I've got 2 of this card. Every single creature in the deck is a human, and this prevents all damage that would be dealt this turn by non-humans. So not only does this stop Feldar Guardian combo for a turn, but also allows you to set up a huge attack with one of our 3-drops that you're talking about.
Yeah.
The new Combat Celebrant.
So 4-color Saheeli blocks well.
Okay.
And like if this is your answer to the cat combo, like I don't like it because they're just gonna block profitably when you attack, and you're gonna have to blow this, and then they're gonna kill you.
Yeah, but the idea is to get underneath them. And as I'm going through here, let me just finish these. Like, Thalia's Lieutenant, obviously insane. I think this guy's actually pretty good too, or this girl's pretty good, because it's whenever it attacks. So with using the Combat Celebrant, if you get the second attack in, you're up for another +1/+0.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Which is pretty good.
That card is good, I think.
Yeah. The 3 Always Watchings we talked about. This card really, I think, is one of the biggest gains. It's huge.
2 of them and 0 garrisons is probably the right way to be.
I'm trying Garrison out. I really like it. It makes this card so much better to be able to go turn 2 any of my guys that have haste, especially this card.
Like, those 8 3-drop slots right here,
yeah,
I think that there should be 3 of them tops still in your deck. And then there should be, like, a bunch of Metallic Mimics and maybe some...
See, you know what I don't like about
Snares.
Metallic Mimic, though? It's an artifact. And, like, if people are having that Manglehorns and stuff like that, you're going to be getting caught. And I like the fact that every creature in the deck is a human. One of the cards here, you can see I have the 1 of Destructive Tampering. I had a second copy, and this kind of, like, you know, goes with the argument that you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm using this to, like, be offensive, then I could die to the cat. And it's kind of true. But, like, I want cards that are high impact, that are, like, weird like this, because that's how I'm going to steal games. You know, I go 1-drop, 1-drop, 1-drop against...
steal games by being a fast deck.
But that's what
If a fast deck isn't good, your deck isn't good. And if a fast deck isn't good, it's not suddenly going to become good because you have a 3-mana Falter in your deck.
Yeah, but I think it's something that no other cards in the deck do. And I think being able to have the option of a main deck artifact
that's a fair
that's
argument.
a catch. And with this card, it's insane, I think.
Card is so bad.
You just don't like it at all. It dies a Liliana.
That card is unplayable.
Unplayable. Combat Celebrant. You heard it here.
Yeah.
The sideboard, I kind of threw a couple things in here. We got Gideon's for control,
when
cast
you play
out.
that thing and they play Walking Ballista, and you boom,
Sure.
boom,
We'll see.
daddy,
We will see.
boom.
We will see. Walking Ballista could be a little bit of a problem for this deck, but like if I have Always Watching Out, there's a lot of things. If they're ballisting on 2, you know, I'm not too worried about that. So.
Repel the Abominable also stops Valakut combo. Now that is cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Garrison's not super good with Always Watching.
It's
yeah,
not.
but the tokens are just huge with Thalia's Lieutenant. And
What does
like,
Garrison
with
do?
this-
What does it become? Tap? Oh, it's attacked. So you can
Yeah.
still get the tokens.
Oh yeah,
but the
you get
tokens don't get pumped.
But they're
Okay.
tapped and attacking. Who cares? With this
Yeah.
guy, it's insane.
Ballista.
You just put another 2 tokens into play. And I think Garrison might be the one that gets cut. It might be too cute with the Thalia's Lieutenant, and that may be the 3-drop that gets cut. But this is my first initial impression that I think that there could be a red-white aggressive deck. And maybe, like, you're right. Maybe I do cut the Garrisons. Maybe I put another Destructive Tampering in, and maybe I put some, like, shocks in to stop the combo, and then we have something. Yeah. But I think this is a good base. I guess that's where I'm going with it. I didn't expect to put...
Oh, I would
put, like...
main deck some cast outs.
So you said I have too many 3-drops, but you want me to play 4-drops now?
Yes, because your 3-drops all suck.
Okay.
And you're rather off playing good 4-drops than bad 3-drops.
Okay, so you want me to do this?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then can I bring back the tampering?
Nah, get it out of
Come
there.
on.
Get it out of there. What do we have? 59 cards now?
Yeah, and a wall of wood. Shock? 1 shock?
No, get me a Metallic Mimic or 2.
No! They're not good. No, they could be
metallic.
good. You really like metallic?
Get out of those Combat Celebrants.
Oh, we don't own any.
That's good. I mean, it's not good.
That's not good.
It might
not
stop
good.
you from playing this deck, which would be good.
Definitely not going to
lands
stop
are in
me
your
from
deck?
playing this deck. All right, well we're gonna get back to this deck, and I'm gonna test it a little bit and see how it is. I've been wanting to play. Maybe Bushwhacker might not be a bad idea for this deck either. Think about that. New Thalia.
Yeah, New Thalia is great.
Yeah.
I just assumed you had that. Oh, that's a good 3-drop. Yeah.
Yeah. What are we doing? And that stops the combo. Add two. Two's a good number, right?
Yeah, perfect number.
Perfect number. We got to cut one card.
Goodbye, destructive tampering.
You hate this card?
It's been nice knowing you.
All right, I'll put it in the sideboard.
There
You're
we
killing me.
go.
I said that's TA. Capital A.
What is going on right now?
What's this going on?
You own 13 copies.
That's a lot of
The
copies.
world will never be safe.
I draft that card a lot. Okay. Any other creature-based deck for that matter? Yeah, that's true. It is good. I'm working on... What else are you working? Are you working on anything else? Or are you just working on the 4-color cat deck just being the best it can be?
Red, blue, emerge.
Okay. Also something from the game that...
Turn to Blood Rage Brawler.
Can we go Drake Haven?
Drake Haven seems really awkward. It's possible if you build the deck as a Drake Haven deck that it's good. But if you build the deck as an emerge deck and just include Drake Haven, it's a little bit mopey.
Okay.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna do a Hotline Bling. Bling.
We're definitely gonna end the show with that.
Yeah.
Mainly because Drake Haven's good.
But
Drake Haven News Constrictor, I want to see that this weekend on camera.
I wanted to just give a little bit about my opinions on emerge. I think that if you play Blood Rage Brawler and discard a Scab, a Stitchwing Scab or an Advanced Stitchwing, then you can... The next turn you can pass with 3 mana untapped.
Okay.
And you can either cast Kozilek's Return, you can discard and return the Stitchwing, or you can use the mana to cast the 3 mana Mana Leak, Reduce to Rubble.
Okay.
That card's really good as well because if they don't cast anything on that turn, you can discard it and Amalgam to get back Stitchwing.
Okay.
And then you have 10 power in play on turn 3, and you untap attack for 10 and tap down their 3 lands. Or say their lands on untap.
Okay.
If something that they can't cast, on their turn wasn't worth mana leaking, then you can just lock them down. And if not, you can discard something else, and then you have the mana leak up for next turn, and you have 10 power in play, and you're playing like a flashback.
So what do you think this deck gets, like, other than, like, Drake Haven? To make it, like...
Well, Blood Rage Brawler is really good. Reduce to Rubble is pretty good, I think. The deck also gets Drake Haven and Censor.
Does the deck have anything that you think makes it a good matchup versus 4-color?
Oh, well, it seemed like I was getting worked over and over by... I was getting beaten down by 4-color. No, I was playing the Emerge deck and just getting browned by 4-color over and over. The deck grinds so well.
Okay.
All right. The blue-red deck kind of plays like a tempo deck, but like the 4-color deck just has all this inevitability and good removal, and like sometimes you flashback Kozilek's Return and then you win, but sometimes you just do nothing and die.
I'm working on a red-green mid-range deck with the Green God. I really like that card a lot. I think it's one of the strongest, if not the strongest, cards in the set. I think it's definitely a build-around, so... I'm looking forward to seeing maybe some people come up with similar ideas with me. I want to play that card with Nissa. I want to play that card with the new Crocodile, with Bristling Hydra, with Sylvan Advocate, with Tireless Tracker. It's going to be a little bit more difficult now because I need to have a way to deal with the cat combo. Whereas before, if it was going to get banned, I think this would be an actual time for like these mid-range creature decks to be like thriving again. So that's interesting. I want to see what people do with Drake Haven. I think the card is just completely bananas. Yeah, I think it's just so good, and it's going to be really cool to see people have different designs.
There's a Drake Haven Censor list of blue-red in the testing decks I've seen, too.
Okay.
It plays like Drake Haven Censor, Sweltering Suns, and it plays like the Scabs, too. But it doesn't play Deep Fiend, so...
I did say that, and actually that was really terrible. But I am dyslexic.
It's dyslexic. I
know,
think
but
the
I have
doctor
to
told me
troll
I have
you.
that.
I have to troll you. It's just
I
too
was
much
told
fun.
that I have that.
But always, that's Kevin Jones, the master of the Manus Rider, and you can't teach that. Dab on him.
Dan Ward, and he's 6'6", and you can't teach that.
Hey, we'll
Thank
be back
you.
next week.
We will
We're
see
coming
you
back
guys
strong with
next
standard.
Wednesday.
And we're going to steal something from
Same
Tony Reality.
Weekly channel,
Little,
same weekly place.
Around the horn. We're on a 6.5 day break. We'll see y'all later.
Looking for fun, informative Magic the Gathering analysis? Look no further than KerwinsGameStore.com. Team KGS has the best writers and content providers this side of Kaladesh. Whether you're looking for standard, modern, vintage, tournament reports, or deck techs, Team KGS will give you the insight and analysis to help with your Magic game. Check out KerwinsGameStore.com weekly for new videos and articles and see why KGS is the best place in gaming.